For in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed.
Amen.
So today we are learning all about cybersecurity, and our speaker is on the line waiting for us. So his name is Aderoju Adewale. He's right there waiting for us, and I want us to pay rapt attention to whatever he has to say, because he's not just a random speaker we picked. He's someone that has been in the field for a very long time and is an expert in the field. So let's all try to listen or grab whatever he has to say, just as a wise man is going to be speaking with us. All right. Over to you, Mr. Adewale.
All right. So once again, good evening, everybody. And it's a privilege for me to be speaking this evening. And just like the Mr. Balaji have said, so my name is Adewale, right? So one of the youths in the Youth Alive Fellowship, actually the area rep for Canaanland. And, it's a privilege for me to be here, speaking about, speaking to cybersecurity, as, it's one of the most interesting career paths. And, it's been amazing, finding myself, transitioning from, being a software engineer to becoming, a network engineer, work with Google, work with, top, top tech companies as a software engineer, prior to me moving to network engineering, and now I'm cybersecurity engineer. So it's been amazing, and it's been, a long journey, right? So at the beginning of my career, it happens that, I wanted to be a cybersecurity engineer, but I don't know how to go about it, right? I wanted to study cybersecurity engineer, but I then did not study cybersecurity engineer as a course of study in Nigeria. And, all I could do was just to go online and do my Google research and ask, you becoming a cybersecurity engineer, right? So what are the things that you need to know? Then Google starts suggesting to me that you have to be, a software engineer. It's part of the path, becoming a network engineer. You have to understand networking, and then, before I finally found myself in cybersecurity, right? If you ask me, working as a software engineer, why do I have to leave? I was just being passionate about cybersecurity from time to time. I was never interested in becoming a software engineer at any point in my life. I'm serious. But because of, the pressure of you study computer science, you have to do something. You can't just be at home. So I decided to go to become a software engineer. And even before I finished from school, I started working, side gigs, make money myself, before you start getting a full-time paid and all the lives. It's been an amazing journey. So this evening, we will be, looking into many things. I'll be sharing from my own personal experience. I was able to navigate my path, into cybersecurity, and just to speak more to, what we will like to, hear tonight. All right. Okay, so I believe my slide is showing well, right? Great. Okay.
Loading.
All right. It's still loading? Wow.
Yes.
Is it my network? Can anyone attest to that? Because
I can see from my
It's showing
I'm
well.
seeing it already. That's what I'm saying.
I can actually see. It's actually clear.
All right. Yeah. All right.
It's clear
Thank
from
you
my
so
end
much.
as well.
Okay. All right. So, like we pray God, we ask, oh Lord, that you yourself, you give us wisdom, retentive one, for us to be able to comprehend what we'll be discussing this evening, and at the end of the day, to benefit our lives, and to give us insight into us making the right decisions, as to our career path in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So, starting all over. Good evening, everybody. The topic before me is starting your cybersecurity career, right? And I call it a gateway to digital defense. Gateway to digital defense, right? You all will have seen this name on the general platform. They have PC, the name called BrainSoft. Yeah, that's the name, right? That's my name. It's a brand name, just an ordinary name, right? So taking us further, I'd like to pick onto this. Meeting your facilitator, who is Adewale Aderoju, right? Adewale Aderoju is a graduate of computer science. Sorry, I not put my BSc there, but definitely I must have BSc before getting my master's degree. So I'm a graduate of computer science from the President University of London. I have a master of business administration, a master in financial engineering, and I have a master in financial engineering because I was actually interested in the financial sector and I want to provide security in the financial space, right? So that was part of what, prompted my interest, in going into uh, you call it into financial engineering for 2 years with a school in the United States. Then I have a master's in cybersecurity from UC Kansas University from the United States as well. And then a Master of Science, in cybersecurity as well from Mohammed VI University from Casablanca, Morocco. And as a certified Chief Information Security Officer, which is part of the peak certifications in the cybersecurity space. And then a certified Tikuaka. Yeah, I'm a certified Tikuaka, train one. Certified Application Security Engineer. That's for professional app security engineer. Then certified cloud security engineer, professional cloud security engineer. Certified network defender, a professional network defender, like I can secure your networks, and certified network associate. This was my first ever certification in the industry as a network from Cisco as a network engineer. By grace, I've been able to train over 1,500 young cybersecurity professionals globally. That's leveraging on we have what we call Young CISO Network, we have what we call Product Africa, and several other platforms. I've been able to train over 1,500. I'll get students called from different parts of the world. I still mentor one-on-one, most doing masters, most are in the industry, they say reach out to me, right? And currently I'm the Vice President of Information and Data Security at Expedia in Canada. Right. So at Expedia, we do more of fintech, cross-border transactions, and I serve there as the Vice President Information and Data Security. I'm a Senior Application Security Engineer at a commercial bank here in Nigeria as well, and the Chief Visionary Officer, BrainSoft Company Limited. That's my personal company. I offer cybersecurity consulting services. Consult for top insurance company in the country, top financial sector in the country, top fintech companies in the country and outside the country. That they've reached a level, reached series of fundings as well. So I've consulted for different organizations, and by grace, I've been privileged to represent Nigeria in the ACALAB Africa Hacking Competition. Right, so I represented Nigeria, sponsored by ECOWAS, which we came in first, represented the country, emerged as first in Nigeria, and then represented Nigeria outside the world, competing with other African countries, and then we're able to flag Nigeria, we're able to raise the Nigerian flag above, right, of others. And lastly, winner of Greenfish hacking competitions, putting Nigeria ahead as well. It's for African countries. I represented, I captained the team, and then we emerged as number one in Africa as well. So, just a brief introduction about who I am. All right. Next to why cybersecurity? Why cybersecurity? I guess it's a question that everyone needs to answer, right? But you can answer that inside of you. Why cybersecurity? Right? Now, when you get to know about why cybersecurity is high demand. Yeah, we all know that. It's high demand, it's a growing field, right? So, and we really need professionals in this particular space, right? We really need professionals in this particular space. And which is one of the reasons why we have this kind of session we have this evening. High demand and a growing field. Whereby we need more professionals, right? So, and the only way for us to have more professionals is by sharing the knowledge. That is, those that have the knowledge should share the knowledge so that we can have more engineers, more professionals, in the industry. Okay, right. Another thing is work. All right. Another thing is impactful work. We protect individuals. That forget about the fact that I say I'm an ethical worker. Yeah, I'm an ethical worker. I'm a pen tester, right? I do red teaming, right? Right. I've act in organizations whereby I'm being employed to act organization, right? So that I can tell them where their weaknesses are, right? I've been able to, hack into a financial institution, tell them where their weaknesses are, so that they can block it before someone like me that wants to do it for evil is going to, enter into the environment and do the same thing, right? So we might be doing something that looks offensive in court, but in the actual sense, what we are doing is we are protecting individuals. So our goal is to protect individuals, is to protect businesses, is to protect government organizations, from involving cyber threats. Because when we talk about government organization, in the year 2022, I had an opportunity to interact with some organizations. We call them Leonardo Aerospace. Leonardo Aerospace built, fighter jets, the secure cloud. The countries, contract out their cloud services, their country environment to Leonardo for security. Okay, so what we do is you monitor another company's atmosphere, you monitor their space and protect them against any form of missile launch or things like that. So you monitor all those things, all activity that happens in the cloud. So that is where the government comes in, right? The business aspect, you can talk about the likes of GT Bank, Access Bank, they are business bodies. And they employ us to, as a matter of fact, part of the requirement from CBN is that they must have somebody like me, right? An organization who does, all this kind of work that we do. Tell them their posture, their security posture. Just imagine, logging into an application now, your banking app, and you discover your money is gone. Will you ever trust such bank again? No. So those are the work we do. We protect all those kind of things. When the developers are writing code, they write code in different way. They might not have, a good knowledge of what security best practices are, but we ensure that those things are in place. That is your role, right? And there is an adage in Yoruba that says, for you to be able to catch a thief, you yourself must, be a thief or know how to act like a thief or know the ways of a thief, right? So that is why we are trained to be hackers, because if we are not an hacker, we can protect organizations from fellow hackers, right? So that's to tell us the impact of your work in the industry, the impact of your work in organizations, right? So we have diverse opportunities. There are different opportunities in cybersecurity. Right, a lot. I'll be talking about them in my slide. There are lots. They are technical, less technical, right? Though it's good to go through the technical ones so that the less technical ones won't be that difficult to you. And another thing again is cybersecurity field is a field whereby you keep on learning, right? Earlier I showed you some certifications. This year I just got that CCISO. It was in March this year. You keep on learning. You keep on updating your knowledge. You need up-to-date knowledge because each day, every day you wake up, you see news. There are another malware. The one you thought you were able to block, there is someone out there that's already released another form, another way of bringing down your measures down. So that's why it's a research. It's a field whereby we keep on researching. We keep on researching. You learn on a daily basis. You have to do continuous learning to be much more efficient at what you do. Now, taking us to the next slide. Oh, sorry. All right. Taking us to the next slide. My question is this: what are the foundational baseline for cybersecurity? Do we have anyone that wants to speak to that? When I mean foundational baseline, what are the things you think you should know before you can venture into cybersecurity. Maybe someone somewhere has advised you on what to learn, what to do, what to gain access to, things that you need to know before you can become a cybersecurity engineer. Do you have anyone I want to share any? Do you have anybody? All right. Yeah, Joseph.
Well, I was told you need basic programming knowledge for the background in programming.
Oh, great. Thank you. Toby.
Yeah, I think the basic thing that you need to know first before this, and you have to know networking. You have to understand networking protocols and how things are being done on. Basically network and operating system. Because basically those are things that you have to be protecting.
Oh, great. Thank you. All right, Abraham. Yeah, you can go.
To know is hello, good evening, everyone. I think what you need to know first of all, know coding first. When you don't know coding, you can't block what you want to block. There is no coding first. Know how to code. That is it, sir.
All right, great. Thanks so much. Like I said in my class, I don't have the right answer, neither do I have the wrong answer. So thank you all for your contribution. That's well appreciated. All right, so let's see what I have for us. All right, so like I said, some people have mentioned some of the things, I'm still going to mention, but it's quite essential that we just, leverage on that. You need to build your technical baseline, right? Becoming more proficient, as a cybersecurity requires you to build your technical baseline. Okay, so when we talk about building technical baseline, we are not just speaking grammars, right? We try as much as possible to bring it down, so that some of us that are not really, really technical inclined and have a good understanding of what we are saying. All right. So when we talk about building technical baseline, there are basic things that we need to know, right? Basic things like, can you operate your laptop? That your laptop. Can you work on that your Windows laptop effectively? Right? Can you even operate that your Windows laptop? Right? You need knowledge of different operating systems. Okay? Because as an ethical hacker, most of the tools we use we operate them using Linux. Right? Is it that we can't operate them on Windows? We can. But it's quite easier for us to operate them using Linux. So there's a need for you to have a good understanding of different operating systems, right? You must be able to understand different operating systems. Don't just limit yourself to Windows alone, all right? So understanding of different operating systems is key. Okay, the next thing is, networking fundamentals, right? When we talk about networking fundamentals, we are talking about your, some of you've been hearing something like IP address, you'll be hearing things like firewall, you'll be hearing things like VPNs. You need to understand how all those things work, right? So in my previous classes, we have been able to train people. Sorry, excuse me. The way I start training people is this. I'm going to teach you networking, introduction to networking. After taking you introduction to networking, I will take you introduction to programming. After taking introduction to programming, you'll have covered different operating system, basic programming concepts. Then I can now you can now move on into cybersecurity fully. Because all this foundational knowledge are key. They are part of what you need. All right? They are part of what you need. There's no how you want to do it if you don't have those knowledge. Those knowledge are requirements. They are basic foundation. They are not difficult, right? They are not difficult. They are basic foundation that everybody that wants to go into cybersecurity should know. Because now, if you don't understand how network work, how do you protect network? And when we say you are protecting network, we are talking about you protecting, for instance now, when we talk about network, we are not just talking about MTN glues alone. Let me break it down a bit. We are talking about the likes of, some of you have what we call base station. Some of you call it mast, right? Located at your area for connection, your MTN mast, your Glo, your everything, right? We have them. They supply network, right? They have, so that you are reachable, right? MTN and all those kind of guys, MTN, Glo, Airtel, and they provide network. Okay? And you in your house, right? For you to be able to connect to that network, is either you use a modem. Are we getting me? Or you have a modem that is going to break down all those network to allow you to be able to access it, within your environment, which is what we call, something like local area network. We have what we call wide area network. So in your company, some of you that work in organization, you discover that you can't use your personal device to connect to your office network. That is because you are being protected from using it. All right? So those kind of things are what the knowledge that is expected of us before venturing into cybersecurity. You need to understand, how does a network work? What you don't understand how it works, you can't protect. That is just a simple truth about cybersecurity. You must understand how those things work before you can protect them. Okay? So the next thing we have is let me say programming basic, scripting. You must be able to write simple scripts, writing simple HTML, JavaScript applications so that you can understand. Now, why is programming essential? How do you tell your developers that, this page you develop, you did not develop it well, I can hack it, I can hijack this website, if you don't understand how those codes are written? Okay, one of the financial institutions I was privileged to work, I log into that's my work. I was employed. I log in and I was able to, replicate transaction because there was a flaw on what the developer wrote, right? And normally the flaw, you can't see it with your naked eye until I entered as an hacker to start my operations. That was where I was able to see, wow, this is a flaw. And it was because I have a good programming knowledge. If you don't have good programming knowledge, there's no way you are going to understand that this is a flaw. When you have programming knowledge and you now have security knowledge, you're already ahead of the developer. So you can always point out where their mistakes are. And when you are interacting with the developer, you must be able to tell them, you must be able to speak in the language that the developer will understand. If you are not speaking the developer language, he or she is going to just neglect whatever opinion you are saying. I'm telling you, which is the truth. Not minding how important what you are telling them as a professional is. So this is why, basic knowledge of programming is essential. We talked about cloud concepts. Maybe you understand Azure, GCP, AWS. The world is going into cloud computing, cloud security now. Those are the things that we need to venture into. So these are the future of cybersecurity. All right. So the knowledge, and funniest thing is, all these things I've mentioned, you don't need to pay 5 naira to learn all of these things. There are a lot of open source resources. We just need to get access to the right materials and follow them closely. By the grace of God, I'm a self-taught cybersecurity engineer, self-taught software engineer before I had the opportunity of advancing my studies. All right. So you can learn them. They are readily available. They are available online. Trust me. Want to learn some of all these things? W3 School is there for you to learn programming. We have the likes of I want to use the name of this thing to do. Acdi Lab, Akas Lab, Akalab. There's a popular platform I'm trying to remember whereby people go to learn. I've forgotten the name. Maybe before the end of the session, I'm going to tell us, right? But there are a lot of open source. Try Acme. So you have to try Acme where you can go and learn free apps before you start paying for them. The professional ones now, Act the Box, try Acme and the likes, right? So those are the areas, this is where you can learn. Okay, so let's continue. Now, another question is this. Most people ask, do I need formal education? Right? Do I need formal education?
Sorry, Wale.
Yep.
Please mute your mic.
Good. So, we have different people ask questions like, do I need formal education? Do I need to go and have a master's degree in cybersecurity like you do? Do I need to have a bachelor degree in computer science like you do? Yeah, I recommend you having, degrees in all these things, but optional, right? Why do I say you need a degree? Is because if you want to work in some kind of organizations, trust me, they will ask you of your bachelor degree, at least your BSc, right? In relation to what you can do. There are a lot of people who have friends that was privileged to mentor that studied the likes of, what you mentioned, the likes of anatomy, we guided together from the University of Lorraine, is in Qatar, travel here and there, the top cybersecurity engineer is not even in Kuwait now at the moment, making it in the cyberspace. Once we work with Cybersoft Lekki, he had a bachelor degree in anatomy, right? He never had anything, but all he did was with a bachelor degree, at least he could enter and add additional qualifications and experiences in the industry to what he's doing today. Boot camps, there are a lot of boot camps. I've participated in some, trained some in some of all those things. You can get them, just get, online resources, online certifications, just to prove that you really know what you're saying, So why do we need all this? You need to prove to them that you really know what you know. And there is an evidence to show you know what you know. Because without evidence, the world will not welcome you. I'm serious. Nowadays you have JDs out there, they put requirements. So you have to meet up with those requirements before you can even be tested. Are you a nerd or not? So this is an opportunity. Like I said, it's not casted, it's not something that, like I said, it's started on stone that this is what you must do. It's a must, but it is required. It is recommended that you have them, because this resources is going to help you, to be invited. At least come and tell us what you can do. Let's get to know what you can do. All right. So taking us to the next thing, you need to gain practical experience. People said, I've been learning, I've been training. How do I tell the world that I have experience? I can do what I can do. How do I develop myself personally? Right? When you ask me when we are in the software industry, I was in the software industry, what part of what I do then as a software engineer is I can go online, check Google websites, and then check Facebook website at the early stage. I will mimic it and redevelop the same thing and put it in my portfolio. Right? That was then. But in cybersecurity, how do you prove? How do you gain practical experience? Let me be honest with you today. In cybersecurity, you don't just read to become a cybersecurity engineer. It is by doing. It is by doing. Most things you see that I do. And the funniest thing is nobody will give you their organization environment to come and practice. Even me, myself, I will not give you my environment to come and learn. So then, how do you get the knowledge? That's the question. How do you gain those knowledge? How do you master what you think you should know? It is very, very essential. If I interview you for a role, I will never ask you define and explain. I will create a scenario for you and ask you to solve the case. Tell me what you do. So if you don't know it in depth, you can't pass it. So head knowledge, book knowledge does not really solve, the problem in the industry. So gaining practical experience is key. And the first way to gain practical experience is home labs. Trust me, when you are on LinkedIn, you see different people putting on different resources about how to create a home lab, right? Different resources out there on how to create a home lab, all right? So set up a virtual environment to practice skills. This is part of what I do when I train people. I tell them, you must have a home lab. You can't even be my student without having a home lab. No matter how much you've paid, I send you out. You need to have a home lab, because that is where you go and practice. I will give you assignment, you go in there, simulate how a real working environment look like, and see how you can bypass, put firewalls, see how you can bypass all those things, so that when you get into the a corporate world, you know how to interact better. Okay, so get your, build your own lab. You have like of VMs, we have what we call, virtual box, what we call, what VMware. Those are like, spaces that allows you to create your lab, whereby you can, install your Kali Linux, have a Linux environment. We have what we call vulnerable labs as well. We have in cybersecurity what we call OWASP. OWASP, like a framework. They have different vulnerable labs for different scenarios. Just go there, download the prepared lab, put it on your home lab, and be attacking. Be doing what you will do to web applications. Be doing what you will do to mobile applications, or your apps, or your website, how you can hack them. They've created those scenarios there with instructions and guidance on how to be a pro. So it's like I tell you, what you need to be successful, in cybersecurity to learn is free. But you need all those paid certifications to prove to the world that you really know what you said you know. Okay, so to be a cybersecurity engineer, all you need is just zero naira. I'm telling you today, it's 0 naira, because there are a lot of open source resources. Just master it. Then after mastering them, you can then prove to the world by taking, all those high-end certifications. Now, next thing is capture the flag. Capture the flag is what we call, if participate in capture the flag, we have the life of Hack the Box, we have the life of Try Hack Me. And funniest thing is Nigerian Self has started, NTDIA, they've started something around CTFs as well. Last year, they started Capture the Flag, whereby they opened up a hacking competition challenge. This was part of what I did for representing Nigeria twice, sponsored by ECOWAS, in another country and the likes like that. So when you go out there, you show the world that this is what I can do. Okay? You tell the world, this is what I can do. And when you tell the world, this is what I can do, then you compete with the best hand. When we are doing Capture the Flag, we do things around cryptography, do things around, let me say OTP bypass. How do you bypass OTP? You send the OTP, you don't want to use it. How do you act to bypass? So those are the things you do. Yeah, it teaches you, it's helped you to build an hacker mindset. Okay, so these are the things that you can do when you talk about CTFs. You talk about internship or volunteer work. Go on internship. There are a lot of virtual internships that you can apply to, right? Go there, learn, work for free. Even I myself, I did all these things before I finally find my foot, in the cybersecurity space. Yeah, how you learn experience. When you intern with, like, let me say the likes of top cybersecurity firm in the world, you just intern with them. You add the work experience into your CV. They believe that for you to have interned with them, you must have learned one thing or the other, and it gives you room to take up an entry level role. Okay, so personal projects build portfolio, to showcase your skills, e.g., security scripting. Trust me, I started scripting. I did a scripting for what did they call them? Intershala in India. I did a scripting to restrict, the kind of applications you can install on a system. I wrote a script for it that runs locally. No matter what you try, I embedded the names of the application I want you to be able to install on the laptop we give to you. Right? I wrote scripts to do that. So these are the things you can do. Okay? Now, let's move on to the next one. Time is not by our side.